Good day, everybody. This is JD. What am I going to do today? What am I going to talk to you about? My definition of peace. What I feel is really peace. How to establish peace. What is peace? My definition of peace. But I'm going to do it in a metaphor. I'm going to tell a story. Now, you people who are leftists, pacifists, I'm even going to cover you in there. But let's get the story going, and to give you a little hindsight on this story. When I first joined the Navy, I was very strong in the 60s. Matter of fact, there's several places where I can actually point me out. And in peace, and believing in peace. And they asked me, why did I join the Navy? I had two answers. One, I always wanted to be a sailor since I was little. Two, well, actually three, I believe in the Constitution. And three, I believe in peace. They asked me what peace was, and I gave them the same story that I've been giving people for years. Being from New York, going down to Times Square and all that, I would a lot of times, so I used that location because I was familiar with it. And understand, my definition of peace takes in consideration the true nature of us, the humans. Unlike Karl Marx, who likes to think that everything is rosy and beautiful, the world is not. So let me go with it. Me, as a family man, take me, my wife, and my child to an off-Broadway play. We park a little distance from the theater because that's where we have to park because of the way it's situated down there. And we walk to the theater, and the show starts about 8:30, and we watch the play. 2.5 hours later, somewhere around 11 o'clock, a little after 11, we go out and we stop off at one of the restaurants right there, get a little bite to eat, then we start walking home. So it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. My wife is dressed up. She has her coat on. My child, whether a boy or girl, has their coat on. And I'm wearing a long trench coat, which my wife says, why are you wearing that? And I said, don't worry about it. And over my shoulders, I don't have my arms in the sleeves. I'm wearing it like a cape. We're walking down the street. Out of the side jumps this burglar, mugger, whatever, and he pulls out a .38. Now he's totally disrupted peace right then and there. See, and he tells me he's going to rob me and my wife to go down the alleyway. He's not going to do it there. Well, probably what's going to happen is one of two things. He's going to rob us, and then he's not only going to rob us, he's probably going to kill us. Now, if I go down the alleyway with him, will I establish peace? No, because then anxiety would take over. There's still no peace there. It's anxiety. I have pacified him, but I am still in threat of losing my wife, my child being killed, as well as myself. A lot of anxiety. Go down the alleyway. If I fight him there, well, if I try to fight him, someone might get hurt, other than myself. So actually, what do I really do? Gently and slowly, I raise my right arm, exposing a double-barrel shotgun with both hammers cocked and my finger on the trigger, pointing right at him. Not his head, right at him, in the chest. Then I tell him simply, here's your options. You have that .38, which has that little slug. You pull that trigger, you might kill me. Maybe, if you hit the right spot. But as you see, both hammers are cocked, and this is full shotgun loads in here. I'm going to pull both triggers. And that's going to cut you at your chest in half, smashing your heart, totally destroying everything in that portion of your body. That will kill you. No ands, no ifs, no buts. So, you have the option to pull the trigger, and I will pull this one. You will be dead. Or to put your gun away and walk away. He looks for a few seconds at that double barrel facing his chest, knowing that he can shoot me, and even if he shoots me in the head, I'm still going to be able to kill him. Definitely. Not maybe. and probably damaged some of the building behind him. He loads his gun and he walks away. At that point, and only that point, did I establish peace. Truthfully, would I have pulled the triggers? In a heartbeat. Did I want to? No. Because if I wanted to, I would have pulled them as soon as I raised the gun. I let him have the option. But believe me, if he would have tried to fire that .38, I would have cut him in half. That is, at that point, when he loaded the gun and walked away, I established peace. That is my definition of peace, people. I've been telling that story to people for years. I went up to Boston and I was going through Harvard University and they were having a Save the Whale. I was wearing my Navy uniform and they had the door open and they were practicing and I sat down there. They called me down and they asked me about nuclear weapons. And I told them, I don't know if the Kennedy had it. I was on the Kennedy. I don't know if there's nuclear weapons. I would presume so, since it's the first line of defense. But I would not guarantee it, and I cannot affirm nor deny it. They said, well, what do you think of nuclear weapons? And I asked them, what do they think of peace? They said, but it's such an overkill. And I agreed, it is such an overkill. But what do you think of peace? Just like me standing there with that shotgun. That is a lot of overkill for that .38. But it was guaranteeing that mugger, if he tried to, he was going to be dead. He was going to be cut in half. No ands, no ifs, no buts. Do I believe in guns? I will defend everybody's right to have a gun. But I can honestly tell you, there's not a single gun in my house. Though I don't need one. I'm an expert marksman on a bunch of different weapons while I was in the military. But I'm also an expert in a lot of other things. And if somebody tried to break into this house, 4 or 5 people, and they had guns, the odds are still in my favor. Just to let you know. But my definition of peace is the man with that shotgun who raised that shotgun with both hammers cocked. He was interested in establishing peace. He knew the truth, the nature of the people. Therefore, he came to peacefully go and watch a play and go home. Somebody else had a different idea. So he established peace. No one died, no one got hurt. Had he have brought a .38 himself, most likely the burglar, mugger, whatever, would have tried to shoot it out. But because he had the shotgun that the burglar, the mugger, knew would destroy him completely, he established peace. If he had to, he would have used it in a heartbeat. People, that's what peace is. Had the guy went down the alleyway with the mugger, he would have prolonged maybe his life. He might even have lived through it, but he would never have established any form of peace. He would have been totally full of anxiety, worrying about whether his wife was going to get killed, raped, beat up, his son being hurt, damaged, daughter, whatever, being hurt, damaged, as well as himself. That is not establishing peace. That is an anxiety. That would have made him a captive, a slave to the individual with the gun. I will not allow that. I don't care what you leftists say. The truth of the matter is, when that man rose that shotgun to the chest of the mugger with the .38, he could even have a .357, wouldn't have mattered much. .357 would have made a bigger hole, but that doggone double barrel shotgun would have made sure his heart was no longer in his body. Peace would have been established. Once the mugger lowered the pistol and walked away. You notice I didn't say he went after the mugger. He didn't go after him. He didn't call the police. He did nothing. He lowered his rifle, walked to the car with his wife, and drove home. And they had a very peaceful night and had a very enjoyable play that was interrupted by someone who doesn't believe in peace. That's the definition of peace to me. The point of which he had the shotgun pointing at the chest and the mugger lowered the pistol and walked away. At that point, peace was established. Sorry, people. That's my definition of peace. You can take it, you can leave it. But I want you to know the truth about me. If you notice, I've said some good things, bad things. But I've never said anything really very negative, but straightforward. I will never be politically correct. Never. To me, politically correct is only an excuse to lie to you about what I'm really thinking. So sorry, people, you'll never catch me being politically correct. It's only an excuse the government uses to lie. Well, we couldn't say it because we wanted to be politically correct. No, the truth is, a lie is a lie. I will not be politically correct. Understand. Now you know how I define peace. I want you all to know that. Because when you elect me as your president, you need to know how I see things also. And I need to know how you see things, so that we together can straighten out this country and get ourselves back on our feet. Do not worry. The United States has a grand future ahead of it. It's just up to us, the people, to do it. Not the politicians, not Congress. They need to be completely. I guess you know what they do when you go get a colonoscopy? They make you drink that liquid to clean you out. I think we should get a whole bunch of that liquid and dump it in Congress. Clean it out. Get the political parties out of there. You see, political parties aren't interested in the people. They're interested in themselves. They got to raise money for their candidates. They have to. I got to too. But I refuse to sell myself. I cannot sell myself, people. I'm not going to ask you to contribute if you don't want to. And I'm not going to lie to you about what I am. Oh, yes, I do need for you to help. Believe me. I'm like every single one of you out there who filed your income tax. You sit there praying the day your tax check comes. And believe me, I can tell you right now, God answered my prayer. I'm going to tell you that up forward. God answered my prayer. The IRS said that if everything goes okay, I should get my check by the 26th. Right now, I'm hurting for money. And I pray, God, do something. Get that check a little early. Guess what? It was deposited today. Yes, it was. God answers prayers. I really needed it bad. So don't think I'm going to be a person that's rich. I'm not. I'm one of you. Think about that. And strongly think about my definition of peace. If you disagree, let me know, and I'll be glad to discuss it with you. But the truth of the matter is, at the point of where that shotgun was pointing at the guy, he loaded the pistol and walked away. I established peace. Not going down the alleyway, because that would just bring anxiety and more turmoil to the situation. Peace is tranquil. Peace is a good feeling of oneself. It is not murder. It is not killing. But sometimes to establish peace, we must be strong enough to stand for it. Thank you. This is JD.